Hey there. Figured I would finish up with the elbow a little bit today. So besides the self-myofascial treatment that we talked about last time, some of the key factors I want to look at when people come in, do we have actually good range of motion of our elbow? So if I'm sitting here, I should be able to flex my elbow until the meat of everything touches each other, and there should not be any pain with me kind of pushing that elbow into full flexion. Should not be any issue getting into full extension. So some people that I see can't fully extend their elbow, and that's going to be a problem. So we need to full extend. We need to be able to fully flex and fully extend our wrist. There should be about a 90-degree angle in both of those positions. We should be able to fully move our wrist into pronation supination. So without moving my shoulder or my body, I should be able to lay my palm straight up to the air and should be able to turn my palm down without any compensation. Other thing I look at is shoulder. Do I have proper motion in my shoulder? I used to throw a lot of baseball, so I have excessive external rotation in my shoulder, but that really comes in if we're throwing a forehand. I need a lot of external rotation to lead with my elbow to not let that elbow kind of burn out if my shoulder is not functioning correctly. So the other thing we look at as well is I need to make sure people have a strong shoulder girdle and a good hip turn. So anytime we don't have a strong shoulder, it's going to overuse the elbow, and that could be a cause of your elbow problems. Also a hip turn. If you're using very dominant upper body and arm when you're throwing, that's going to overload that elbow as well. Having maybe a local pro or some of your buddies videotape you, really look at your throwing mechanics and see if there's anything that pops out where you're either overthrowing with your arm or not turning your hips, or following in with a tight shoulder that maybe is causing a little bit elbow mechanical issues. That's really one of the big things too. We clean up form, and then we make sure that we don't have any mechanical issues at the elbow. Now, if we don't have any mechanical issues at the elbow to clean up, and hopefully if we do, we know that we can start by doing a little bit of that fascial release to start to kind of move that and loosen that up a little bit. Second part to that, if we have more of a muscular or tendon issue at the elbow, we start with something called eccentrics. Eccentrics are a form of an exercise. So with any exercise, we have a concentric and an eccentric phase. If I was doing bicep curls, for an example, if I come up into that curl, my muscle shortens. That's the concentric phase. If I come back down, it lengthens. That's the eccentric phase, it's called. So with that lengthening, it actually takes that tendon and starts to remodel the tendon. So if I'm doing something with my wrist extensors or wrist flexors, I really want to go in that slow eccentric phase to start to actually remodel some of that tendon and make sure it can become healthy again. So what I would do, and you just kind of vision that I'm hanging off the edge of a table here, I would take a weight, it's something under 5 pounds, but I probably wouldn't start with anything super light. I want it to be respectable, but no huge discomfort. We would come up, and I'm not concerned with the concentric phase of the movement, only the eccentric. So I would actually assist myself into the concentric phase, and then I'm going to slowly lower that weight down, working on that eccentric lengthening control. Bring myself back up, slowly control that descent. And we would repeat upwards of 3 rounds of 15. I tell people I want like a 5 or 6 second lowering phase here. That would be for my extensors. Flexors would be just the opposite. I would again help myself up in that concentric phase, slowly lower eccentric, back up, slowly lower eccentric, and upwards of 3 rounds of 15. So a comprehensive elbow program would be making sure I can take care of my soft tissues, making sure I have good mobility in all my joints above and below, and that includes shoulder, maybe spine, making sure everything is moving right so my elbow can function correctly, making sure I have good tendon health, so using some of these exercises to really promote good tendon health, and really making sure my form is compact and efficient, and I'm not overusing my elbow with any kind of insufficiencies I may have. Hopefully this information helps you to throw well,